Good afternoon, everyone. My name is TJ Muehleman. I am the founder and chief organizer person at Standard Co. And we are here with our seventh installment, which I can't believe we made it this far, of our data series, Data is Awesome, but Managing Data Still Sucks. In today's video, we're going to talk about the COVID Delta variant and how we use the data in our system that we collect every night automatically to build a community-based search tool on how COVID is affecting specific communities and what the risk level of COVID is in your community. So if you're familiar with the COVID mapping project, which I hope you are, we have a county search tool. Every night we pull in data at the county level and we're able to see what's happening in a specific county. But what if we wanted to see what's happening in my zip code? What if I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper? Well, with our tools, we're able to provide that kind of functionality. And in the next couple of videos, we're going to actually build a tool like that in under 10 minutes. So what we're going to use to actually build the risk assessment tool is actually a framework created by the Chan School of Public Health at Harvard, which basically says that there's sort of four risk levels. Green is 0 to 1 cases per 100,000 over the previous 7 days. Yellow is 1 to 9, orange is 10 to 24, and red is 25 or more. Now, using this framework, we're going to create a tool that shows you in your zip code where you are in this matrix. Are you in green, yellow, orange, or red? And this is a tool we've actually built already. We did it at the county level, and we're going to actually show you how to drill down to the zip code level. If you go to the counties section of the COVID mapping project, you can search by any county in the country and see what the current risk level is for the past 7 days, or based on the last 7 days data. And so by visualizing this and by plugging in real data, people don't have to go seek this out themselves. And this also demonstrates how in standard data, we make it easy to bring data from disparate data sources, line that data up, and then actually provide meaningful and useful data. Okay, so now we're in the standard data interface. And what we want to do is we want to highlight a new feature that we rolled out a couple weeks ago that allows us to intelligently detect whether or not two data sets can be merged together. So let me walk you through this use case. We have here, this is our zip code database. This is a public data set that we provide to people for free of charge. And we have two data sets in here. The first data set shows me the zip code, every zip code in the United States, and the population density of that zip code. Neat little feature, but what it's missing is what county are those zip codes in. So if I wanted to say, tell me what county is zip code 30303 in, this population density does not have that. The other data set in here, which, right, by the way, is just Georgia zip codes for now, shows me the zip code and the county it's in, but it doesn't have population. So these two data sets could be merged into one data set where we would be able to view all of that data in one place. And for the database folks out there, what we're essentially talking about is we have a tool that automatically can create a view of that data for us, what we call a virtual data set. So let me walk you through how that works. So when I visit this project, what happens is when the project's loading right now, the system's looking at the data sets to see if they can be merged. And it detected that, hey, we have two data sets that can be merged. Do you want to merge them? Sure, why not? Let's do that. So let's click that. And you'll notice the zip code population density. We have zip, population, population density. Then we have our other data set, which is called zip to county, and it has zip and county, but no population. So what are we going to do? We're going to pick zip, population, population density, and we're going to pick county over here. And maybe we'll call zip name so we know what the name of the zip. Takes zip code 30303 and calls it Atlanta, Georgia. So now we have a merged data set that right now is not created. I can preview it, which just to see if it works. And look at this. So now we have a merged data set that has the zip code, has the population density, the county that it's in, and the zip name. And the reason this is important is, let's just say we wanted to search by county some data that we have, so we could actually do a search by zip to get the county data. And that's really what we're doing here, is we're able to kind of merge these two data sets together to form a single data set. So I'll go ahead and exit out of that. Let's go ahead and publish that. Okay, so we're going to call this county to zip merge. And we're going to give it a name. This underlying table name is actually what the view is going to be called. And we'll show why that's important here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and publish that. Wait for it. It's coming. There we go. So now you'll notice we have our data sets, which are the actual data that comes into our system, either through integration or somebody uploaded it, or we're using one of our smartphone apps to get the data in. This is the actual data. And then a virtual data set, which is a view of that data. And in this case, that view is a merger of two data sets. So I can go view that data and excuse that. So now I have all that data over here. So I'm able to download that data set. I can do whatever I want with that data set. So that's a pretty nifty little feature that we'll use in another section of our video series for how do we visualize data with Metabase. Okay, so in this next part, we're going to use Metabase, which is our BI tool for taking the data that we just managed in standard data. We aligned a couple things. We created a zip code to county merge file. We're going to take that, we're going to join that with actual case data at the county level, which is going to allow us to search by zip, which will tell us the county data that we can then build a risk assessment tool. We're going to do all that in the next probably 5 to 7 minutes. So let's see if I can do it that quickly. So let's start by picking our data. This is our county to zip merge file. Remember that? We created that just a few minutes ago. And let's preview that. I always like to preview to make sure I'm looking at the right data. Voila, zip, population density, FIPS code, which is our unique identifier per county. It's not ours, actually, it's a standard. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to join that with actual case data that we pull in every night at the county level. And that's in a table that's called the county's new table. And in Metabase, we're doing this in as a custom question. And that's going to ask us, what are we going to join this on? How are we going to connect these two tables? So we're going to use FIPS code from the zip merge file, and we're going to use county ID, which is how we call the FIPS code in our system. So let's preview that and make sure it works. Cool. All right. So these are the columns we just saw, FIPS, zip name, so on and so forth, and then all the actual case data per county that is pulled in every night. So if we want to assess the risk level, we need to do a real simple math equation, which takes the 7-day case average, you divide it by population, and you multiply it by 100,000. That gives you something called the 7-day case average per capita. It's a way of equalizing disparate population zones. So you don't want to compare, say, Wyoming, which is, I think, the smallest state, to California, which is the biggest state. You want to compare them by population and adjust for population. So that's what the per capita is doing. So to do that, so let's close that. We're going to do a custom column. Metabase allows you to do some simple arithmetic, some not so simple arithmetic as well. We're going to do simple arithmetic here in this custom column. It's a really nice feature, and if you're an Excel person, you're totally familiar with what we're about to do. But this allows us to do it here in the BI tool. So I'm going to pick, we're going to pick the 7-day average. Okay, so that's here, 7-day case average. And we're going to divide by the population, okay, which here, actually we're going to pick the county population. And we're going to make sure we're doing our order of operations correctly. Remember that from 5th grade, or whatever that was, and multiply by 100,000, okay? So this takes the 7-day case average, which we have in the counties table. We have the population also in the counties table, and we're going to multiply it by 100,000. And we're going to call this the risk level, okay? So now we're creating a new column called risk level, which is essentially doing this math problem for us. We're going to hit done. So now we have a custom column. We can preview that data and make sure it looks directionally correct. And we have this new column called risk level. So this tells us, remember that in the earlier video at the very beginning where we talked about the risk matrix from green to red? Well, this data looks pretty good in terms of what we're looking for. So now, okay, so now we've joined the two tables. We've created a custom column. Now we want to do some filtering. So let's filter by zip code. Let's do 30303, okay, which is, oops, let's do that again. Zip code 30303, okay. So now what we're doing, let's just add that filter and let's preview that, okay. So now we have the zip code, which allows us to search, and that connects us to the county, which is Fulton, which tells us the FIPS code, which allows us to figure out how many cases have been in Fulton County over the last 7 days, which tells us the risk level there is 29.51. Okay, so now we want to build a really pretty gauge. It's called a gauge in Metabase. And to do that, we've got to remove some columns. We don't need all the columns, so we're going to get rid of those. Okay, refresh this. Okay, now we've winnowed down the number of columns we have to work with. And let's click visualize. Okay, so we're at the 5-minute mark. I think I can get this done in the next 2. Click visualize. Whoops, visualization. And I need to remove, actually, let's go back, sorry. I need to remove these other columns because this is a Metabase quirk. You only want the risk level. Okay, we want risk level, okay? So there's our number, there's our risk level. Now we can go back and do the gauge, okay? So what we're gonna create is a gauge, and if you recall, 0 to 1 is containment, and 1 to 10 is community spread. We're missing the orange, so we got to add that. Click orange, and that is 10 to 25, and then red is 25 to 50. Okay, so now we have a gauge that tells us if we are between 0 and 1, we're in the green zone, right, which is good. If we're between 1 and 10, we're in the yellow zone, which is community spread, not great. 10 to 25, things are getting out of hand, and anything over 25, we need to do something about that. Again, all this data is designed to kind of paint a quick picture of what's happening in a specific zip code in real time or near real time. This data this is the actual risk level in Fulton County as of August 4th, 2021. So now we can take this in Metabase, we can publish this. Let's call this Fulton County risk assessment. Okay, I'm going to save that, and we can publish it. Okay, so we're going to get a URL, a dedicated URL, and I can go to it at any time. I can embed this in a website. I can share this via email. I can point people to it in Fulton County. They can come to this anytime, and the data in here will be refreshed every night by Standard Data. Thanks again for tuning in to our data series, Data is Awesome, but Managing Data Still Sucks. Hopefully you found it useful to understand how we use standard data to line data up, gather data from all these disparate data sources, and then provide that data back to stakeholders, the general public, whomever might actually need useful information to make timely decisions. Please like, subscribe, share, tell the world about standard data. And if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see in a future video on data and data standardization, drop me a line. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much.